Hello again. Today's video is about another set of important ethical theories, the descriptive theories, or the theories that describe how the ethical decisions are actually made in business, and explain what factors influence the process and outcomes of those decisions. So let's start understanding the stages of ethical decision making from a rationalist perspective. First, we become aware that there is a moral issue at stake. Second, we make our judgments, so the decision itself. We also can call it the moral evaluation. Then, our moral intent is established, which is related with our moral motivations or determination to transform a decision in an action. And finally, we act or implement our ethical decision. So what can happen between those steps that could prevent us to implement what is the right thing to do? Well, we have individual and situational factors that influence all those steps, actually. Let's start talking about the individual factors. Are age and gender basic demographic factors that influence our ethical decision making? Well, researchers in this field are mixed and not conclusive. For example, a study made by Kraft in 2013 said women are more ethical than men, but another study said men are more consistent in the decision making or they were stickier when making ethical judgments. The same for age, mixed and inconclusive results, saying certain experiences could shape ourselves in the way we respond to ethical problems. What do you think? The type and quality of our education and the training we receive in the company, as well the experience we accumulate working, could influence our ethical decision making? An interesting study in the US said that business students were lower ranked in moral development than law students. Worse, the study found those same business students were more likely to engage in academic cheating. Maybe because their business training devoid ethics, reinforcing the idea business is not expected to concern about moral decisions? Well, the most comprehensive theory that can explain why we make and implement our ethical decisions comes from psychology. So let's talk about the psychological factors. The cognitive moral development, for example, says we make decisions based on different levels of reasoning process involving our ethical judgments. In level 1, the individual concerns with self-interest and external rewards and punishments. In level 2, the individual does what is expected by others. In level 3, the individual develops the autonomous decision making based on principles of rights and justice rather than external experience. The study says most people and most of business managers act in the level 2, doing what is expected for them. Do you remember when was the first time you questioned an ethical superior decision? And the last? Other important theory in psychological field is the locus of control. It's about the type of control we believe and we have above our lives. Some people have a strong internal locus of control, so they believe life is shaped by our own efforts. Other people believe in the external locus of control, saying life is the result of luck, fate, or the actions of other people. Studies suggest those people with strong internal locus of control are more likely to take responsibility from their actions. On the other hand, they are more likely to stick with their own beliefs, being more resistant to change. So the research is not conclusive about what type make better ethical decision making, but they are relevant variables to take in consideration, right? The personal values and personal integrity are both our set of beliefs and adherence to our principles that influence our ethical decision-making. A virtual person, for example, is more likely to behave ethically. Companies are starting to understand they cannot ignore the set of values of employees and try to align it with the core values of the company for empowering, retaining, and motivating staff. When the company ceases to ignore the virtuous act of an employee to expose an ethical issue, then could happen the whistleblowing incident. The employee approaches industry regulators, journalists, or any other outside agency to expose the ethical issue. Now let's talk about the situational factors, or the factors influenced by the kind of issue or context we have. The moral frame is a relevant aspect that influences the degree of intensity of the ethical decision making. It's about the language we use to make action more acceptable, to justify it. For example, it's not the same to say we copied and passed an academic work than to say we stolen the academic work, right? The second one looks more unethical, doesn't it? The rationalization of moral framing has 6 strategies. So, 6 ways to deny ethics and rationalize unethical behavior. For example, the denial of responsibility, saying it's not our business. On the other hand, the situational issue of authority could lead us to act unethically if we follow explicitly superior orders. The bureaucracy is another form of organization that could suppress the moral autonomy. Moral decisions just will be possible following the company's procedures, distance us from the consequences of our actions. Have you ever reflected upon the regulations of your company and what could be not entirely ethical? Finally, the culture of the organization plays an important role in the assumptions of the norms and beliefs, influencing or determining our ethical decision making. Thank you for listening. See you in the next video. Bye.